Alright, real quick. A Hyundai Santa Fe oil change. When I pulled this old oil filter out, I thought at first maybe it collapsed, like from being used too long, the way this thing looks. And then further inspection, what happened is the actual cap that this oil filter sits in, and then you screw it into the engine compartment. When I looked down in there and I tried to put the new filter in, I noticed like it wasn't going in all the way. You gotta remember, these have like a O-ring in them, right? And that O-ring's supposed to sit down into that cap and kind of lock in place. So I looked down in there and I grabbed my pick and I actually pulled out one of these, all right, with the O-ring, which looks just like this one right here, right? So then I looked further down and I pulled, there was another one. I pulled out two of these. These two were stacked on top of each other like that, down in that oil filter housing, all right, or the cap. So I pulled two of these out and I'm like looking, I'm like, okay, so these come out over time. Like when the oil filter is old, I guess, and you go to pull it out, these sometimes will pop off with the O-ring and stay stuck down into the cap. So this thing had two oil changes at some point, two oil changes where the technician or lube tech or whoever didn't notice this. So these two were stacked on top of each other. They go in for this oil change now. They just shove this on top, put the cap on top of that, and then just tighten the crap out of it. And then what they did, they actually crushed this. Because now there's too much space taken up by these two old caps from the two oil filter changes. So they put them on here and then tighten that thing down, and it actually crushed this filter a little bit. And it's been like that for over 3,000 miles now. 3, 6, 7, 8, probably 9,000. Right? Because you have these two. That's terrible. That's why this industry is getting a bad rap. Because no one's paying attention to what they're doing. So it had one oil change. This cap pulled the filter out. That cap and O-ring stayed on. Then it had another oil change. They pulled the oil filter out and that cap stayed on. And then like now the third one. It's like it's so bad. This industry really needs to do better. You guys need to pay attention. So I pulled these out with a pick, one after another. And then all of a sudden the new oil filter snapped in place, no problem. Yeah, so I pulled this one out. I just wanted to see how hard it was for these to come out. And yeah, they come out. Sometimes they come out when you try to pull the old oil. You gotta look. When you're pulling these old oil filters out, look and make sure this O-ring and the other one on the other side came out with the old filter before you go put the new filter in. Otherwise, it may be down there stacked on top of each other. God knows how many. All right, so you need to really look. It's kind of like with the screw-on filters. You got to make sure that the O-ring came down with the old filter. Like this one. Right? When you take the old oil filter out and these screw-on ones, you got to make sure this O-ring came out with it. Otherwise, you double gasket it. Right? And you have oil leaks everywhere. Well, in this case, nobody paid attention. And they had two of these stacked on top of each other. Put the other oil filter on there and crammed that cap down and crushed it. Crushed this thing. God only knows how this was actually filtering, if it was even filtering at all this time. So, amazing. We got to do better.